my Williams, and welcome back to another favorite channel. I'm Jacob, Jacob Books Corner, and today we are here to talk about the 29 books I read in March. Depending on who you ask, it's 32 to 29. I know that seems ridiculous, but that's where we're at. I've been told by several different sources, those being different, browsers and ways I keep track of novels that I read. I've yet to write them all down into my big document that I have every year, but I'm assuming it's 29 and not 32, but who knows? Either way, let's get going. To make this a little bit easier for me on editing, we're going to go through all the books I physically own first, and then we'll pop up all the rest of the book on the screen beside me. So let's go ahead and start with where I started the month out, which was with Cassandra Clare. I read City of Ashes. I gave this, I want to say it was a 4, maybe a 4.25, something along those lines. I very much enjoyed the sequel. We're still in my least favorite part of the Shadowhunter universe, so it's not as fun and exciting. I'm excited to see where Clary and Jace do go. I mean, I do know. I don't remember exactly how they come to the realization, and so that's what makes me most excited for City of Glass, if it's not to read the other Magnus story, the last book of the White. That being said, I also read 2 Magnus novellas. Reading this in timeline order, essentially that means is I'm skipping publication order. If you've never read the Shadowhunters before, I recommend publication order. I have read all Shadowhunter books. Now we're going through it in timeline. I read 2 stories. What to Buy a Shadowhunter Who Has Everything in The Curse of True Love. This is story number... To Buy a Shadowhunter Who Has Everything is story number 7, and The Curse of True Love is story number 8. Or number 9, sorry. I enjoyed both. Both were 5 stars. 2 are my favorites novellas, I think, in the entire novella collections. Technically, I would say, because the website also said it, but I disagreed, and now I agree. They do go first and then read City of Ashes. You get a little bit more context towards some of the situations that are going on here if you do read them first. I did a little bit of Percy Jackson reading. I was really trying to finish this off this month. I had some holds that were due. I lost the Tower of Nero 80% into it. So that's very annoying, and I'll see you guys in a few weeks when I get that hold back, because I can't justify a purchase of $18 to finish that book. We will wait until I get it back, and then I'll upload this video. That might be in a few weeks. It might be longer. Who knows? That being said, I did run through 3 of them, and that is the first one being Trials of Paul, book number 3, The Burning Maze. This one had some really shocking revelations in it. That's all I'll say. I gave it a 3.5. That's what I gave that. Then I read book 4's The Tyrant's Tomb, which was a 3.25? I want to say it's like a 3.25. Like, there are some developments here, but to be honest with you, with both those books, I don't know if they should have broken up into enough novels. I'm happy 80% into The Tower of Nero, which I'll quickly talk about. I think it's going to be a 4. I don't think it's anything higher, but it's definitely, I think, the one I'm most enjoying outside of the first book in this series. That's good, I guess. Then I also read The Cursed Coven for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is for a weekend reading vlog, and I hated it. It's one of my least favorite books I read this year. Buffy should not be middle grade, and I really don't know why I'm reading alternate universe Buffy stuff. I hate it so much. I always hate it. I don't know why I'm doing it. I'll probably continue to do it, and you can continue to yell at me in the comments for it. I respect that. Then I did a back-to-back reread of My Heart is a Chainsaw and then Don't Fear the Reaper, which are the first one and the sequel. Both were 5 stars. Both are books I recommend super duper much. Like an ungodly amount of much. If you like a slasher, if you like good writing, if you love good characters, I do recommend. The first one is a slow burn slasher, so what that means is the killing doesn't really start until 50-70% into the novel. This is a full-fledged slasher, which means there's murder from page 1. The audiobooks are phenomenal. Could not recommend them more. I'm about to start the 3rd one, and I'm sure I'm going to cry and have a great time. Thank you, Stephen Graham Jones, for changing my life again. With that being said, let's move through the books I don't own. Starting with Little Woman. No one asked me to read this. I don't know why I did, but I did, and it was horrible. I landed on a 3 because, 1, it is a classic, so there's a little bit of that twinge where I'm like, I don't know if I can rate this lower because it is a classic, and it's not as bad as Wuthering Heights, so we're gonna go with 3. It's just really boring as shit. I really recommend, I know some people are gonna be so mad I said that. I'm so sorry. If this is your favorite book of all time, I'm so happy for you. I'm happy you get something out of it. I understand the point of it. I understand why it's written the way it's written, in the order that it's written, the structure of it. I get all of it. I just didn't like it. I think the movie, directed by Greta Gerwig, was 10 times better, and that's where I'd recommend if you're trying to get your Little Woman fix, in my opinion. That being said, moving on. I also DNF'd The Wizards of Galactus. This was an e-arc I got from NetGalley, and it was a science fiction gay story about travelers, and I just didn't care for it. I didn't think the writing was that good. I wish I could recommend it because it had such a low rating star. Part of the reason why I wanted to read it was because it had such a low rating star, and it just did not work for me. I'm very sad about it. I also read Covenant Volume 1 by Lysandra Long, I think it's how you pronounce it. This is a webcomic. I realize I don't like webcomics. It is what it is. This follows two priests as they go through and demon hunt and things, and it's set in an alternate reality, I want to say, because it's pretty much similar to our reality except for the whole demon thing. It was good. It had queer characters. It was fun. It was just kind of average, and I didn't really enjoy a lot of the art style, and I felt like the story was a bit of a convoluted, jumbled mess. It seems to be the case with webcomics. I've also realized I don't love webcomics art style either, so I landed on a 2.5. I'd still recommend it, though, if it has any interest to you. We have Number Call by Nagase Fira. This is about two boys. It's a BL manga about two boys who have, one has 8 as a last name, one has 8 as a first name. They bond over this, and they start a very slow burn romance. And overall, if it was a bit faster in its slow burn romance for the amount of pages that are there, I think I would like it a bit better. I think I landed on a 3.5, maybe a 3, somewhere in there. Then I read Bloodblade Volume 1 by Oma Sia. This was also about a 3. This is another manga. This is about it's about Dracula if it was a girl, and then Frankenstein's monster if it was a girl, and they come together. There's a little bit of romance vibes. I couldn't fully sell you on that, though, to be fair. And the action was quite good, but everything else was just blah for me. I think it would work as an amazing anime, though, if I'm being honest with you. Then we have Ruthless Ends by Katie Weismer. This is the final book in the series. My brain's not working. Marionettes follows Val as she is trying to become a marionette. Those are bodyguards for the vampires in this world. She ends up getting paired with the prince, who she ends up in a likely relationship with. This is an extreme slow burn series. Extreme slow burn series. It does get quite spicy. This one in particular was quite spicy. It very much delivered. I gave it a 4.25 stars like I did the previous one. I'm happy with the conclusion. I felt very good about the conclusion overall, and I'm really excited to get that video out for you. I will have a full spoiler vlog coming for it. The next two books, I'm not going to spoil what the ratings are because it was for a special video where I read until I got a 5-star read, so I don't want to spoil the ratings because of that, but I'll tell you what they are. We have The Cat Who Saved Books, which was about a boy who ends up losing his grandfather, and he ends up staying in his bookshop where he finds a cat who can talk to him, who says you have to save books. I would recommend. In Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldy, this was about an orc who was done adventuring and finds a stone and decides that this stone can help her introduce lattes to everybody, and she goes and starts a latte store in this fantasy world, and it's a great time. I'd also recommend. Then I read The Vampire Slayer #1, another alternate universe Buffy thing, and I gave it a 2-star. I would not recommend. I tend to like Sarah Gailey's writing, and I did not like it here. Then I read Attack on Titans Volume 6. This is one of my favorite arcs. I think I keep saying this is Attack on Titans, but it truly is one of my favorite arcs that we're in right now in the earlier days of Attack on Titans, earlier seasons. So this got a 5. I'd expect the next few issues to get a 5 as we fully develop this arc. I'm quite excited. And then I read Crave by Maria Vavette. This was a 2-star. This is about an app that can unleash your deepest and darkest desires. Basically, you tell them what they want, and the app will tell you what to go do. I personally feel like it should have opened maybe before the app was made, and that the ending should have been a lot more clear and a lot better. It is a full done story in this graphic novel. I just don't know how much I'd recommend. Then I read Sin by Abraham Mufasa. This is a story that I definitely would read more from this author. Solves a cyborg as she decides she wants to stop her life because it's something tragic that happens, and she finds a farm essentially that has kids on it, and she ends up living with this guy trying to redo her life, and then something horrible happens and she is forced to go do other things. Another great read. I don't think it's out yet, but when it does come out, I highly recommend. I got it as an e-arc. I gave it a 4. Then I read Dead Girls Walking by Sammy Ellis, which is officially out, and I could not recommend enough. This is another slasher at a camp. Her dad, the main character's dad, was a murderer, and this camp that she's going back to was her family home. He murdered 15 to 20 girls. One of those girls supposedly is his mother. It opens with her asking, "Where is my mom?" And he says, "I cut off her head and it's buried in the backyard." So she has to go back to this farm to go find her mother's corpse. Other shit starts happening. It's such a good time. I could not recommend enough. The main character here is so good. I love her so much. And the narrator who did this artist also did a phenomenal job. And then I read this little book from Buffy the Vampire Slayer by Jason Murdoch. This is a pop, like they made like a pop picture book for Buffy. It's amazing. It's a 5. Could I recommend more? Then I read Star Wars The High Republic Volume 1, Fear, There Is No Fear by Craven Scott. This is due to the fact the Acolyte's coming out and I wanted to read more High Republic stuff. This is what started everything off. This is about a Padawan who is trying to find their own way inside the world of Star Wars, and I enjoyed myself, but it wasn't as captivating as I was hoping. So I think I landed on just like a 3. Then we have Hotel with 2 L's. This is by John Leese. This follows, the first story is about a pregnant woman who is in an abusive relationship and going to this hotel who experiences weird things. I would not recommend this for a lot of people due to the trigger warnings and stuff that's inside this graphic novel, but if you can handle the extreme horror elements of it, that's all I'll say, I think you'll really like it. Also, if you liked Womb, I can't remember who wrote that, but I can throw it up on the screen as well. I read it for an extreme horror video last year. They have very similar vibes. I would recommend it to whoever enjoyed that would probably like that if you like graphic novels. I read Scooby-Doo Apocalypse Volume 2 because I hate myself, I guess. I don't know. This is like one of the worst things I've read so far this year as well. I think I gave it like a 1.25 or 1.5. The art style, very comprehensible. The writing is nothing but slog, and the plot is abysmal. Could not tell you not to read something. Then I read Lazarus Volume 3 Conclave by Greg Rucka. Greg Rucka, this is a similar slick that he's done before. It's about someone who can come back to life. They're basically a clone, I guess is the best way to explain it. They're really well, they can do battle really well and stuff, and they're this like bodyguard for this family, and this is Volume 3. I enjoy the series quite a bit. If you like any of that stuff that I just described, you also enjoy the series. I would recommend. Then I read The Hunger and Dust Volume 1 by Will G. Wilson. This is about a world where only, I want to say it's orcs and humans, maybe orcs and elves live, everything else is dead, and so they're coming together to combine the two to stop a war that's been going on for many centuries, and it's about their journey there. My only complaint with it was I felt like the action could be longer, so I gave like a 4.5. I felt like the writing was spot on and would recommend when it does come out. I'm going to say it comes out in May. Then lastly, we'll quickly talk about it. I don't know if I'll throw up on the screen or not, but I also read Dynamic Character Designs. This is a drawing book that I got from NetGalley, and I really enjoyed it as well. It is simply just teaching you how to draw. So. And then lastly, can't forget, I also read A Court of Thorns and Roses this month, Sarah J. Maas. I gave this a 4. I have a 45-minute vlog talking about this false Freya as she is kidnapped, and then she has to learn what to do with her new world that she is in. And I will be continuing on the series. I will mention, like I mentioned in that video, I don't know when the next one will come out. Could be in April, it could be in May. I'm going to start reading it in April, but it's a really long book, so bear with me as I go through it. That being said, those are my all the books I read in the month of March. Let me know what you guys read in March. I'd love to know in the comments down below. I'm really excited for April. I do have a feeling April will be a lower reading month just because I have a lot of writing things I want to get done, and I tend to allow myself to drop back on the reading and become more of a writer. So, that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you all next time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.